What's going on, guys? I wanted to hop on here and discuss something that's been on my mind lately, and I see a pretty common discussion going on about it as people in the keto space are moving towards utilizing carbs under certain circumstances. And a lot of times people bring up to me that they think it's in my Instagram handle, Ketovore Kitchen, that I'm like pro keto 100% of the time, all the time. It's the right diet. It's the only, that way or the highway type of mentality. And like that is just not the case. I've said it before, I'll say it again. There is no one size fits all when it comes to diet. And I do think there is some benefit to using carbs under certain circumstances. So I kind of want to talk a bit about that. And there's some people that I've been following that are discussing the same things, and I really appreciate that they're bringing this to the table as well, because it needs to be talked about. And the being dogmatic and being overzealous about carb consumption is just, it's not benefiting everyone or anyone. It's not benefiting anyone. We're all on the same team here. We are looking out for each other, and the keto police, like it's just gotta stop. It's gotta stop. So, firstly, carbs, they mediate the cortisol response, meaning that if you are stressed out and your cortisol is spiked, consuming carbohydrates can help lower your cortisol, period. Okay? So, what a lot of people don't realize is that keto and also intermittent fasting are stresses on the body. I do believe that in general people are over consuming carbohydrates. Like the average, standard sedentary person following the standard American diet, there's no doubt that switching to keto for a period of time would be beneficial for them. Due to bio individuality, there's no guarantees, but like most people could afford to eat less carbs. What I'm referring to is the people that are doing keto for extended periods of time, that are stressed from work, that are working out 4 or 5 times a week for hours at a time, that aren't consuming carbohydrates. They could probably benefit from some carb consumption, not only for cortisol, but there is definite evidence that I've seen that carbs can benefit lean body mass and building muscle. Now, granted, there are plenty of athletes out there who are following a ketogenic lifestyle and doing fantastic. Are they outliers? Possibly. I think if you're smart and there's exogenous ketones and this and that, and like there's ways around it. But for the average person, I think if you are exercising intensely, and or are stressed out in other ways, and most people are, I think if you ask anyone, that they are, they would respond that they're dealing with some type of stress in their life. So cortisol mediates the stress response. What I like to do is I follow a ketogenic diet for the majority of the day, and then especially on exercise days, I will have carbs in the evening. Now, choice of carbs I think is important. I really do believe that there are benefits, that the negatives outweigh the positives when it comes to consuming grains, legumes. Grains and legumes specifically, let's not get too deep in the weeds here on talking about phytates and oxalates and lectins and this and that, but like I don't think that we really should be consuming grains and legumes. But sweet potatoes, white rice, okay, specifically white rice, not brown rice, because again, lectins, etc., phytates. But white rice, I think, is pretty benign. Raw honey, fruits, dates, that type of thing. Starchy vegetables, beets, roots, tubers, carrots, that type of thing. I think they can be really beneficial for people if you're smart about the timing of your carb consumption and about the energy expenditure that you're performing throughout the day. Simplest way to put it, I had a consultation with someone recently, and I said to them, if you're expending more energy, you can probably afford to have a little bit more carbohydrates, because when we have this like restrict mentality, people just tune out, and like they're like, I can't do this, I can't follow this, like it's just too much, right? So I think if we're just cognizant of when we're consuming them and how active we are that day, that we can kind of gauge how many carbs we should be consuming. And then also there is a discussion going on about the importance of carbs for women specifically when it comes to PMS symptoms and also thyroid. I think the jury's still out, but I would potentially wager on the side of safety and just consume, not safety, but like err on the side of caution and consume some carbohydrates here and there. And I think following a seasonal approach to eating makes a lot of sense too. Like, there is good evidence to say that the more sun exposure we have, the more carbohydrate tolerant we are. And evolutionarily, that makes sense. In the summer, spring, summer, and then in the fall, the days are longer, there's more sunshine, there's more vegetation naturally growing. We would have adapted and evolved to consume carbs around that time. In the winter, in especially more extreme northern and southern hemispheres, there would have not been vegetation growing in the winter. We would have been consuming mostly animal products. So I think following a seasonal approach to eating kind of eliminates a lot of the thinking and like the nitpicking about it. So that's what I'm aiming to do. I've done 2 like month-long carnivore resets that worked really, really well for me. But in the long term, for me, it's not sustainable. For a lot of people, it's probably not sustainable. And that leads me to my next 2 points, which is quality of life. That's huge. If you're feeling restricted, if you feel like you can't go out to eat with friends, like you're pissed off and depressed and upset, and like physically you may be feeling better, but like mentally and spiritually and emotionally you feel like you're in a box because you can't eat anything, then what the hell's the point? Honestly. This really, like, I'm really, really passionate about this because like I just want to see people feel their best and perform their best, and there's got to be a balance between like 100% proper what's best for you in terms of nutrition, and then also considering quality of life, because again, it's all for naught if you friggin' have to feel like you have to sit at home like and can't go out to eat and can't be at functions and this and that. And like there's definitely, I just listened to a really good podcast today about intuitive eating, and when it comes to that, I think you have to work towards that eventually. For some people, counting macros and calories works for them. For some people, that's way too restrictive. But I think eventually we can all get to a point of where we're eating intuitively. So quality of life has to be a consideration. And then one of the last things is animal-based versus a carnivore diet. So I am of the firm belief, and I think there's enough evidence to support this, that we need to be consuming animal products. Without a doubt. There are just, factually, there are certain nutrients and amino acids, minerals, vitamins, whatever, that you only get in animal products, period. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Taurine, carnitine, carnosine, B12. B12 is the big one. You can't get adequate amounts from water and soil. Sorry, James Wilkes. And then K2. You can get K1 from plants, but as humans, we don't convert K2 to K2 very efficiently. Yeah, you can get beta carotene from vegetables, but we don't convert beta carotene into retinol very efficiently. Heme iron, like tons of examples. EPA and DHA are like some of the big ones. Okay, yeah, you can get ALA from chia seeds and flax, but like humans, especially certain humans, depending on their genetics, just convert it very, very poorly. So, do we need to be consuming animal products, but do we need to be consuming just animal products? Again, quality of life is a consideration. I see tons of people thriving on carnivore, and like kudos to you guys. I personally could not do strict carnivore for the rest of my life. Now, granted, like I said in my short Instagram video the other day, sometimes it's just not worth feeling like shit to eat tasty foods. So for certain people who have autoimmune issues, I'm one of them. I have Hashimoto's thyroiditis. So for me, I have to be really strict about what I consume. So I consume mostly animal products, but I'm very selective about which plant products I consume. Very few. Berries, so right now it's cranberries and blueberries, avocados, sauerkraut, raw honey, which, I mean, you could make the argument that's carnivore, honey. I've just reintroduced some dairy, but I'm very selective about that. I haven't reintroduced eggs yet. Um, so I think being carnivore-ish is like a really, really good place to be. I'm going to make another video about the progression from keto to carnivore, because I feel like a lot of people followed that route. I certainly did, and I see that as people care more about their nutrition, they are more about their health. They're moving away from the direction of just focusing on macros and net carbs, and focusing more on what foods are the most nutrient dense and providing them the best value. So yeah, that's basically what I wanted to say. Again, just to wrap it up, we're all on the same team here. Um, we got to stop with the like calling each other out about like, this isn't carnivore, this isn't keto, why are you having carbs, that blah blah blah. Like, everyone's very individual, obviously, in their genetics, in their microbiome, in their needs, in the stress that they're dealing with, all of these things. So I think, yeah, for just be a little bit more relaxed about it. Like, be kinder to yourself. If you're feeling stressed out, maybe have some carbs. Just maybe consider the timing and the type of carbs that you're having, in the grand scheme of things. Just like take that into account. That is pretty much what I wanted to say. I hope you guys found value in this video. Please give me feedback. I'm going to try to really do more of these videos, because I really like this format. Sometimes I just have way too much to say to like get it out in an Instagram post. I'm really going to try to get my podcast going. But like, share, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, all that jazz. If you enjoyed this, I really, really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this, and catch you on the next one. Take care.